Back. We need y'all to score up Any Given Sunday. If you don't have the DVD, just go on YouTube and get Any Given Sunday, Jamie Foxx, full movie. Come on YouTube. Rahul Bat. Anybody that don't have Any Given Sunday on the disc, just go on YouTube and pull up Any Given Sunday, the full movie with Jamie Foxx. Come on YouTube. It'll open up with a Warner Brothers seal. Everybody needs to do that right now. I'm opening up everybody's third eye today. How are you all doing?
Doing my best.
Glad.
Doing my best.
That's just the best one can do. Indeed. All right. Who has that first spiritual experience they'd like to share with us?
Amun, would you like me to say the prayer first?
Say it again.
There are four
yeah. Say the prayer.
in the conference.
You're right, Hara.
Please announce yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nakuksa Dokye Amun-Rayay. Wunabe Mumadu hu. Wumadayad hu. Wumunter hu. Li Panen Zaman wu Wakat. Hanabab Yanun. Kalal Hamadat Afer Le Amun-Rayay. Natar Shalil Pa Patet Wupa Taha. Anuke Nuwapu. I trust by way of Amun-Rayay and his master teachers and his paparazzi and his warner for this day and time, Panabab Yanun. All praises are for Amun-Rayay, overseer, Nathar of the heavens and earth. Anuke Nuwapu.
I am Nawapian. All right. You, the one coughing, please star 64.
Yeah,
all right, who is that first spiritual? Thank you, Har. That first spiritual experience I'd like to share with us. Hello? Rahul Bat. The first spiritual experience. Okay. Rahul Bat.
Yeah, I have one. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, speak up, please. Thank you.
All right, yeah. This is Katat.
Oh, man, okay. Man, I want you to send me pictures of your woman and where you live, okay?
All right. So, yeah, that actually has something to do with the experience because I recently learned, not too long ago, I want to say earlier this year, I recently learned that these shadow beings are responsible for a lot of problems, quarrels, between couples, mates, right?
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, I recently came to Africa to visit my mate. So I'm in Kenya right now, right? So
yeah, you're not just visiting, you're living there, right?
No, I'm not living here. I'm visiting.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happened was I had a little tussle with one of these beings recently because I realized it was feeding off of us. Anytime we had a disagreement or any type of little, verbal tussle, me and my mate, she would say, like last week, for example, she said she would feel a presence, kind of like something was trying to imitate my presence when I wasn't here or something like that. So then, just a couple nights ago, actually it was early in the morning, and I was in a dream, and it kind of looked like it looked like it was supposed to be a nightmare, but thanks to psychic self-defense, I was aware in the dream.
Very good.
And I knew what this entity was trying to do. It was trying to give me a nightmare, right? But instead, I used mental alchemy, and I was running through some corridor with a bunch of doors, and I was going to the doors trying to find one to go in, and I told myself, all right, well, whatever behind this door, it's gonna be a surprise party for me because I don't know what the entity wanted me to see when I opened up the door, but when I opened up the door in the dream, I went in there and I saw family and I saw friends, and, you know, it was like a surprise party for me. So the dream just dissolved because I know the entity was trying to get me to see something different, right?
Right.
So that dissolved. Then when I came up out of that, I was in that halfway state between sleep and wake.
Twilight,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. And I'm laying on the bed on my back, and I can just feel a presence not too far from me. It was right in the corner between the wall and where the door swings open. And if you know anything about these entities, they like to hang out in corners. That's why our houses and buildings are designed the way they are, because you've seen dogs barking at what appears to be nothing in the corner, right?
That's right.
So that's where these beings like to hang out. So I noticed that while I was in the twilight state, that I could feel the presence. It was right there, just a few feet away from me, and you know, I'm there, and I feel it, and I could tell that it's frustrated. You know, it was frustrated. It was upset that it wouldn't
work its will.
off of it. Exactly. It was upset that it couldn't get through to me mentally, and it was upset because we didn't feed it. We didn't give it any negativity. Me and my mate were being totally positive after a couple of days of disagreements. You know, we would never stay like that. We would have a disagreement and make up. You know, you never go to sleep angry at your mate. But
that's right.
A couple of days in a row, you had a couple of disagreements, and then a day.
That's natural in any relationship.
Exactly, like we all do. So then
that's
you go
right.
you go one day without it, and then the being is upset because it's like he didn't get any food from us. It didn't get any food from us.
Pretty soon it'll leave. It'll leave.
It already did, because what happened was I'm here in the bed, right, and I can feel it, like I said, I feel it right there in the presence, just a few feet away from me. And I know it's frustrating because I audibly hear, you know, like when somebody's upset, they kiss their teeth, like, you
right.
know, I audibly heard that. I was like, oh, this is real. So then I really buckled down and, you know, like, okay, this gotta go. So I say in my mind's eye, and I tried to say verbally, but, you know, I was in that kind of paralysis state. I kind of said, get out. And when I tried to say in the name of Faoud, in the name of Amun, that's when it tried to tighten my vocal cords, and I couldn't really say it, right?
Just think it.
Exactly, and that's what I was doing. So I'm here going back and forth with this being a little bit, and I'm in the bed with my mate, and, you know, she notices that I'm like, you know, I'm kind of shivering, and you know, I'm trying to not let the being get the best of me. Obviously, it didn't. So she pulled me up out of that, right? And then instead of ignoring it, what I did was I got up, I lit some myrrh, and I started walking around the place and saying what I was taught to say, you know. Any being that's not here for a greater good, be gone in the name of Amun-Rayay, in the name of Faoud, in the name of Kaloum.
Right.
Make all negative energy and thoughts leave this place immediately in the name of Kaloum. You know, I started walking around saying prayers and affirmations, and I also said the affirmation, I'm in the love of the all, and the all love is in me. And I told my mate that that's what's been going on. We've had a being trying to feed off of us, so we have to starve it out. You got to starve these beings out. Yeah, you got to make sure that you're so positive and good to each other, not just your mate, just anybody in general, because these beings... And
that's right. They don't only come to do that between mates either. They work malevolent, malicious thoughts for all reasons.
Right, exactly. So they
sometimes they'll get on in the class and try to disrespect me, or you know, to try to minimize the reason that I'm sitting here. You understand? You follow what I'm saying? To magnify the devil.
Yeah, exactly.
They have all the negative beings pulled together in concert in a display of resistance, of solidarity, to show that, like on any given Sunday, the sharks are there to beat the pharaohs. You understand?
Right.
But you know too much. You got too much psychic self-defense. You armed with too much truth and facts. They can't penetrate you unless you just absolutely allow it.
Exactly.
I'll give you another key tonight, Katat, for you to hold on to give you more control over situations like that. You just have to remember, when you say the affirmation, I'm in the love of all, and all love is in me, and all is in me, that's a fact. All is in you. So when you see these pictures about paranormal things, like the little boy in London where a ghost spirit was trying to take the remote control from him and what have you, and a woman being levitated in a sleep in the bed 3 or 4 feet off the bed, and all these things are actually coming from us. You hear me, Katat? All these, like I told you before, I was in a motel room in Detroit, young guy, and it was the height of a thunderstorm, and I had one of those jackets like we used to wear with the stones on the back of it, sharp denim jackets, and I had it hanging on the back of the door. It was dark in there, but every time the lightning flashed, it looked to me like it was a man in the room with a hatchet. You understand what I mean? And that scared me. But now that I'm older, I realize that I was the only one in the room, Katat, you understand?
Exactly.
So whatever it was that was in there trying to fight me was coming out of me. You follow me? So we have to always remember, because a lot of people say, well, I don't have no devil in me, and then they'll go to the store and buy a pack of cigarettes, right? And then read on the side, the Surgeon General has determined that this is hazardous to your health and may cause sickness or even death or cancer, right? And after they read that and premeditate the harm it'll do to them, they open up the pack and light it, start puffing and dragging. You understand? While they're smoking a cigarette, they say, there's no devil in me. Well, who's that inside of you that's telling you to destroy yourself? Who is that when you're driving down the highway doing 55 and something tells you, speed up, go faster, and you 3,000 pounds of steel and glass? Or tells you, run into that bridge embankment. Now, you don't do it, but you get those suggestions sometimes. A woman sitting at the sink cutting up chicken, and her friend standing next to her, and someone tell her, stab that bitch. Now, she ain't gonna do it, but you got to ask yourself, who is that? What is that? You hear me, Katat?
I hear you.
Do all of you all hear me?
That was funny.
Cool.
I hear you.
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
I hear you loud
That's
and
right.
clear also.
This is what the Most High always says. Man, woman, see you not the evil of which you emit?
Exactly.
It's coming from us, the good and the evil. But we want to take credit for the good and dismiss the evil. It's got to be some exterior alien force from outside of us, you got me? But once you recognize that it's coming from you, it gives you control over it. Because if it's coming from you, you can handle it. You can do something about it. It's just like the woman came to me talking about her husband was so evil and this, that, and the other. And when he got so mad, he turned into a reptile, this, that, and the other. She wanted to chant, to protect her from him, for me to give her a chant. And I told her, I said, look here, take back your power, that's all. She said, how do I do that? I said, let's start right here. How long you been with that guy? Over 3 years. I said, 4 years ago, did he have any power over your life? No, I wasn't with him. Okay, well, there's a key right there. Get away from that nigga. You understand what I'm saying?
Cool.
While you stand with him, you creating the hell that you perpetuating the hell. You feeding the forces. You understand?
That's true. That's true, Amun.
It is true.
True.
Yeah.
This woman, this man keeps putting me in hell. The question is, why do you keep allowing this person to keep putting you in hell? Do you understand?
Right.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to put up with that.
Right.
But you do have control. You're never helpless against the circumstances or whatever. Totally without defense in any situation. Any door you enter, it swings both ways. There's not a door that you can enter as a deity that you can't go back through. But you have to learn, like the guy pulling up the thing out the hat, Bullwinkle, when he pull up the wrong thing and put it back. That's all. But when all is in you, you have to ask yourself very seriously, does all encompass everything good, or does all encompass all?
All.
Oh.
Well, if all is in me, that means evil is in me too, right?
True. Right.
Right.
Sure.
And all you got to do is keep telling yourself you're right when you're wrong, and you're feeding the forces. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want you always to remember, whenever you wrong somebody publicly, don't apologize privately for what you do how you act irresponsibly with somebody publicly. Do you understand that?
Understand.
That's the devil's trick too. You understand?
Understand. Sure.
Because if you force yourself to stand up and be a man or a woman and apologize openly and publicly, like what you did publicly, then you'll start controlling yourself, because you think to yourself before you think before you speak and know that you have there's consequences, right?
Mhm.
And you just can't do anything to people and say anything to people, especially when they love you and doing everything they can to help you. But right, Katat, we all have that, and we all have those beings in us, and that is the fight. In religion they call it 180 degrees of negative and 180 degrees of positive. Because what it is that the duality of us is the carnal mind, the physical self, and the spirit is always good and is grappling against the flesh. You follow me? And you already know these things. But I'm trying to bring you closer to it and give you a better handle on it. When you'll have a lot more control of it once you know it's in that it's in you. Then you know that you can, what you did, change your mind. Because the things that you look at will never change until you change the way that you look at things. And you know that, Katat. That's why you were successful in fighting that. You follow me? It was the information that you were armed with. Are you with me, son?
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's right.
Yeah, I also have it's something similar to what he was experiencing. I actually was experiencing similar to that today. It was really I feel like I was being tested with my patience or something like that. I feel like I did pretty good at how I handled it necessarily.
Give us an example.
Okay, just now, my grandma was picking me up I left my truck or whatever, she was picking me up, and she had opened my cat carrier with the door open, and so my cat ran out, and I was pissed off. I'm just why would you do that? I yelled, and luckily I was able to get my cat back in the car safely. And I was able to, necessarily kind of let it go. I was able to change the subject. But then I brought it up, but then I was able to change the subject. And it's now I'm not even mad anymore, because I knew, she had good intentions, but, what she did was just stupid.
That's all.
That's one of my examples. And then another one was, while I was driving in Georgia, because they live in Augusta, Georgia. While I was driving in Georgia, just the traffic, usually I just get really pissed off in traffic, but I was I'm just going to relax, because it is what it is. There's nothing to, you can't really do anything about it.
That's right.
So, yeah,
that's right.
I was just necessarily, calming myself in a sense. I was still getting upset, but, it was just kind of it is what it is.
You're getting a handle on it.
Right.
Well, you all are making progress, and I'm very proud of you. I'm very, very pleased with what I'm hearing. Because it's all indicating growth. Right?
So, Amun,
yes.
I have a question. So what you're saying is that even though like the illusion we are in, it appears to be outward. It's all taking place inward, as in
exactly.
The
there is no out
you're
there.
having an argument with, yes, is actually you, the say negative or the positive side of you, interacting with yourself, basically.
Exactly, and I'll tell you, it's amazing to people that inner voice tells you when you're cutting up chicken to stick the sister next to you with the knife, you're not going to do it. Just like it tell you to run into the bridge, you're not going to do it. Now, unless you're extremely weak-minded like white people, and they run into the bridge to stick the person, you understand?
Sure.
But these voices, we all hear them. You follow what I'm saying?
So we all do this, and because I've had it where I've gotten into an argument with someone and not necessarily been the positive person, but the disagreeable side, and I've said I could have taken it to the grave. I could have gone all day without saying that. Why did I say that? That wasn't right.
Right.
In the aftermath of it, like
but the fact that you analyzing and looking back on it in retrospect is evidence of growth. Because now you're looking at your behavior. That's the first step in controlling it.
True that.
But you have to understand, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is Patal. Hotep.
Go ahead.
I always use that, my situation, like if I do have a disagreement with my mate, my wife, my goal is not always trying to find a negative in her, what she could have done better, but looking at myself first and observing what I could have done better and asking her,
right.
So I can examine the situation. It's easy for somebody to point the finger at somebody else. But my deal
I realize there's always three more pointing back at yourself when you do it.
Exactly. So now I'm the type of person I'd rather evaluate myself in the situation, and I find that it makes it better between me and her, our relationship being 25 years. I'm highly appreciative of it.
And I'll tell you what would be even better is since you're growing, is if you reveal to her what you just explained to us and start training her up in a way to analyze and look at herself too.
She doing it. That's why I say it's amazing now. Because
I know. I used to teach dancers in San Diego when I was in my 20s. Think 10 times before you speak.
Right.
You follow me?
Definitely.
Because when you say things without thinking, it creates a lot of confusion, a lot of problems.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And that's one thing I tell her.
Because a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
How you say it. That's right.
That's right.
I totally agree.
It's just like if I see you come out and say, hey, nigga, I'm glad to see you, this, that, and the other, but now if a white man tell you the same thing, you'd be offended because you can feel a vibration in him that he really means nigger.
Yes.
You understand?
Understand.
You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because people that are sensitive, they can feel the deep-seated animosity that you have inside. You understand?
Right. Yes.
I hear what you're saying,
I got a question.
but I feel what you really mean. You understand?
Right.
Those are sweet words coming from hot mountains right there. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? How long you been sitting on them feelings? You understand what I mean?
Understand.
And at the first opportunity, you let it flow. You let it come out. You exhibited that negative feeling. You understand me?
Understand.
That's right. And people are a lot smarter than you think they are. How are you? They know that when people are wrong and they're doing wrong, you understand? And then they'll support that because what they're doing is protecting their own demons.
Right.
I call it cloaking for Satan. You understand?
Understand.
When you agree with somebody, when you know they did something obviously disagreeable, it makes you disagreeable.
Right. Totally agree.
That's right.
Agree.
Yeah. All right. Any more spiritual experiences?
Well, I don't have a spiritual experience. I have a question though. Something that I observed as far as domestic cats and snakes.
Domestic cats and what?
A snake. So they both have like the the same type eyes, like a domestic cat, like a house
Right,
cat.
exactly.
Not the tigers or your leopards or cheetahs, anything. Only domestic cats. I'm just curious, are they in some type of relation or something spiritually? Because I know that they only have
the
those.
cat. I'll tell you something about the cat, and this is what we knew from Egypt. The cat was domesticated, and it was placed down here for the protection of man.
Wow.
I understand that.
Not only from snakes and physical danger, but the cat is tuned into the spiritual realm as well. Even dogs, when somebody dies, how they howl. Or like Katat said, your dog runs into an empty corner with barking and growling with hair up on their back and there's nothing in the corner. You're wrong. There's something in the corner. The dog ain't crazy. He's seeing something and hearing something you can't see and hear, that's all. And that's why cats are always used for seances. You follow me? Because they're in tune with spirits. You follow?
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I was specific with it, because, you know, if you look at a lion or a tiger or a cheetah, they have circle eyes. The domestic cats and house cats, their eyes are the little, the little split ones, the little,
exactly,
the straight up and down ones.
That's right.
So that's why I was trying to, compare the relation or, something like that. But okay, I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah, that's right. One thing about it, that cat, if that snake get anywhere around you, if the snake is too big, the cat's going to alarm you and let you know that it's there. But if it's the size that the cat can handle, you won't even know it, because the cat going to get rid of it whether you see it or not.
Okay.
How the
cat going to attack it, because that cat was created to protect you. Go ahead.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you saying the snake won't protect us?
No, a snake is not going to protect you.
Okay.
See, and it's not because the snake is necessarily evil. A snake is not evil. It's really a sign of wisdom, because snakes move like water. They float. They take the easiest possible route to get from A to B, right? But that's considered wise in the kingdom of animals or creatures. But the snake is indifferent. In other words, if you're walking through tall grass, you don't have to step on a snake for him to bite you. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? A snake can just strike. You understand? You know, you heard the joke about the man that was walking. It was cold. He got up one morning walking to work, and it was frozen. And he walked in the road. He saw a frozen snake on the ground. And he picked it up out of compassion and put it in his pocket. And as he walks, his body heat started throwing the snake out, right? And when he got to work, he forgot about it and stuck his hand in his pocket, and the snake bit him after he saved the snake. And the snake looked at him like, you knew I was a snake when you took me in. That's what the nature of the snake is. Whether you help them or save them or anything, and there's people like that. You can save their life, help them in every way you can, encourage them and protect them and try to build them up in every kind of way, but they'll strike because they got the nature of a snake.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. Okay, so you said the nature of a cat is different from a snake.
Yes, different.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The snake ain't safe around the cat. But you're not safe around the snake, but you're safe around the cat. You understand? That's it.
Sure.
I don't know, Moon. My cat can't even catch a fly.
Well, cats got personalities like everything else. I had a cat named Fink, and she was really, like part of me, an extension of me.
That's how I feel with my cat.
You have what?
I said that's how I feel with my cat. I feel like if I was
a connection, right? I follow you. Yeah, right.
I remember things.
Wow.
Huh?
Powerful.
Oh, you remember
things?
Yeah. She was really a good cat. I mean, really. I often remind my Most High self that I want to take her to heaven with me. Sometimes I think about things so hard, and I'm laying on the bed, I can feel her jump up on the bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the connection right there.
Yeah. And every time extraterrestrials come around me, she would just come and push the door open and just stare at me and the entity. Go ahead.
So what happens when animals, they have spirits, no souls, when they just fizzle out, when they transition?
Well, that's it.
Spirit, so
that's right. They do have a spirit. Everything has a spirit.
Right.
You follow? Mm-hmm. Even white people have a spirit, but the problem is they don't have a soul, which gives you the ability to have compassion. Because they couldn't do the things they did if they had a soul. You follow what I'm saying? This is soulless behavior.
True that.
You follow me? It's not just looking at American Bandstand and Soul Train and seeing that they can coordinate the music. Not having soul means a lot more than that. They don't have the ability to feel compassion. They're like automations, like robots, you know what I mean? And right. They don't have any psychic self-defense, so any evil that suggests anything that they're exposed to, a lot of times they'll give in to it, even if it's cigarettes, even if it's telling them to blow their own brains out. What I'm saying is that any creature that'll destroy itself, you're not safe around it. If a being will commit suicide, stay away from it.
Wow. Yep.
You follow me? Because it has no respect for life. It doesn't have any compassion even on itself.
Yes, my son committed suicide.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you, that a lot of times things like that happen for different reasons, right? But I'll tell you the primary reason that happens is a lot of times we are afraid of life. People are naturally afraid of death, and I don't know why. Why is it that men fear most what they know least about? You follow me? Like Malachi said, if they all knew anything about death, you'd all get $1 million insurance policy and run out in front of a truck so your family could have money. If you understood what death meant, right? But what happens is that when a person develops more fear for life, anytime you fear life more than you do death, that's the perfect breeding ground for a situation like that. You understand? It's not that they're not afraid to die, but they're more afraid of life facing the next day. Are you following me?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Right.
Yes. That class, Death After Planes, where he's
say it again.
It's a part to what? Death After Planes, something like that. Like, you do not want to commit suicide ever because something really bad happened. Not those verbatim words, but...
Well, it's not your life to take. Not even your own, let alone other people. You see, when you start talking about taking life, yours or anybody else's, then what you're doing is assuming the position of the Creator. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. You follow what I'm saying?
So those who commit suicide, what happens to their soul?
It depends on the kind of life the person led.
All right.
More than likely, they'll wake up in another school because they didn't learn everything that they were supposed to learn here. In other words, we all have an oversoul. And before we came here, our oversoul made all the decisions for us, chose our parents, our environment, and our life. We all have 3 soul seed atoms, right? But now, what happens is, if there's lessons we need to learn to correct previous behavior, and we just don't want to learn it right now, we want to resist it. You understand? Like a bad child just don't want to take. They don't want to give in. They want to be stubborn. Like Billy, he'll hold his breath unless you let him. Till you let him do what he wants to have what he wants. You understand me? And that's what that is. They rebel against the Most High. They don't want to take the life lessons that they're supposed to go through. You understand? So they try to figure an easier way out. You understand what I'm trying to say? But the difficulty in that is that they don't realize that they're immortal beings, and there is no way out. Death is not a barrier.
Exactly.
Right. It's just a transition.
That's all.
Death is like sleep.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Every night your spirit leaves, your higher self leaves your body. Every night. You just don't always remember. Exactly.
Yep.
Out-of-body experience. Because whenever your brain shuts down and your body goes to sleep, your spirit acts freely on the flesh because there's not grappling anymore against it. During the day, when you're physically awake, your mind and body are working against the spirit. You follow? And we don't mean in a literal war. It's just that it's two different agendas. The flesh craves only its desires. You understand? So if it wants cigarettes and pig feet, it don't care what it's doing to the host or anybody else. It just wants what it wants. You understand? But the spirit is always fighting it, like the good angel saying, no, don't do that. You understand? That's harmful. Put the cigarettes out. Don't eat pork. Stay away from that woman. Stay away from that man. You understand?
A constant battle.
That's right. But if the man got good hair or green eyes, a light skin, a lot of times, well, he got wavy hair. I'm serious. But she got a big butt, man. Something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember my teacher said something about that.
And so that's the reason you want to be with him or her for real? Seriously?
Oh, it's way deeper than that.
You ain't lying, and it'll tell on you too as time go by.
You better know their genetics. They blood.
That's right. You better. Yeah. Because we used to always in Egypt. We used to check the family lineage to see if there's any insane people or serial killers or anything like that in the bloodline before we allow. That's why we had arranged marriages. You see.
Yes.
Because people weren't mature, and the men, boys and girls weren't mature enough to make life decisions like that.
That's true.
They wouldn't do no background check. They just look at the man and see you look good to them. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the content of his character or anything, what's in his bloodline or in his family lineage or history. But it come out in your children and in your life. You follow? And then you suffer.
Distraction.
Yeah. She got a big butt, but she's putting you in hell 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You live in hell.
Isn't it parasites that control the mind?
Say it again.
Do parasites control the mind also?
No, they don't control the mind, but they can influence it.
Okay.
You control your mind because, you see, the oversoul is great. The spirit is greater than the flesh. The soul is greater than the flesh. You understand? Yeah, you control everything. So, just like
let me ask you this,
Katat was saying, the things you look at will never change until you change the way that you look at things. But you always have control over the way you look at things, right?
Yep.
But if you just choose to look at that big butt, then you open the door for hell. You gotta don't cry. Get whining up. You understand?
That's right. Put your man up.
That's right. If she coming with hell with that big butt, then you gonna be on fire.
That's right.
It's all an illusion.
Get out of that, man.
He light skinned. He light skinned, but he beating your ass every day. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real.
Yeah, that's real. That's right.
Sure is.
He's light skinned, but that nigga the devil. You forgot about that part, right? It ain't that good, is it?
Yep.
All right.
It ain't worth it.
No, it's not. I used to always tell my children, because see, I look at black people and I study them. And what I found out about black men and black women, when it comes to a mate, they always, 90% of the time, want to choose somebody above their pay grade. You understand? They don't never want nobody that look like them and the social strata as them. You know, if they want a smart man or a smart woman, You know, if they don't look real good, they want somebody that's fine and beautiful and handsome. You understand what I'm saying? And they're creating hell for themselves. Why would a woman choose a man that every goddamn woman in the world wants? Because you put yourself in a situation where you saying you gonna compete with every woman in the world, and you go outdo all them women, and he gonna choose you over all them women. You crazy?
Exactly.
That is hell.
That's true.
A man want a woman that every nigga in the world want her? You a bad man, brother, but you ain't that damn bad. You ain't better than all the men in the world.
Oh no.
And you can't be her ideal choice or whatever her imagination is of her star stallion. You understand? That's right. You crazy. You trying to figure that out? You done lost your mind.
You don't have no mind.
That's right.
No, look at me. No.
And you ain't gonna have no life either, no peace either.
That's right.
With that pretty woman or that handsome man, you ain't gonna have no peace. Get somebody that's on the same level as you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let me tell you a simple thing. You see, a pig desires to lead to all suffering. A pig never experiences hell except at the slaughterhouse. You see, because their life is simple. They eat shit and wallow in mud. You understand?
That's right. That's right.
I'm not kidding, but see, you want too much pleasure. You want to eat things that taste extremely good. You want a man or woman to make you feel good. You want all this desire leads to suffering. You understand?
True.
So,
to whom much is given, much is required. Say it again.
Can you explain the difference between the actual pig and the I don't even know what they call it, the swine, the wild hogs?
You mean the boar?
That's in the wild?
Yeah, well, it's not a lot. One is domesticated, just like the cat. You know, but what the hog actually is a chimera. It's a cross between a cat, rat, and a dog. Because in ancient Egypt, Zauser and Amun-Rayay created the formula for the hog. Because when Abraham was commanded to go up to the mountains to purify the lepers, when he walked with a band, with his party up to the Caucasus Mountains, all those lepers' corpses were strewed all over the path, and people kept getting diseased just trying to walk up there to him. So Amun-Rayay grafted the hog by blending in the cat, rat, and dog into one creature, because the cat was intelligent. You know, like you get on a high bridge and you got a dog and a cat, you throw a stick, the dog might jump over the bridge after the stick and break his neck. But the cat will just look at you like, oh, okay, go get it, nigga. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna go. But the rat will eat anything. You understand? And a dog would damn near eat anything too, you see? So they combined all three of those natures to create the cat, rat, and the dog to create the hog. And when they went up there, they took a swine herd with them, and they would eat up all the corpses of those lepers on the way up there, okay? So they could teach them, you know, things like how to walk on tubes and how to eat with utensils, because the leprosy was oozing from their fingers, and so when they ate their food, the leprosy would go up, and they kept diseasing themselves. That's why they kept dying, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Leprosy is a disease. So the kazir, the sewer rat, is actually the swine, which is related to the pig. Okay. In the same way, a domestic cat is related to say a panther. You follow me? They're all cats, but you got wild cats and domesticated cats. But environment affects species a lot too. For example, thousands and thousands, millions of years ago, you had horses, but they were only 3.5 feet tall, roughly. You understand? Because the Earth was still in the early stages of cooling and surface temperatures and hardening as it revolved. So it was a lot of soft quicksand and swamp. So the horses trying to outrun their predators like the saber-toothed tiger, they had short legs, but they had webbed feet. You follow me? So they could run across the swamp without sinking. Now, and because they had the light weight, they could stand up on this woman, outrun the saber-tooth tiger because of his weight and the way his feet were made. He would sink. But that's what but now you look at the horse you have today, it's the same horse. But what you look at, a superficial surface modification, it's not changes down to the molecular level. Do you follow what I'm saying? It's the same horse. But it's just like a bat. It can see, it has eyes. But when it stayed in the cave so long in the dark, the eyes atrophied. And it lost vision from non-use, you understand?
Understand that.
Wow.
That's right.
Exactly.
The bat is blind because it lives in the dark.
Right.
It's nocturnal.
You have these hound bats, right? They live outside as well, and they also like fly and stuff. But they can.
Yeah, they do, but you never see them in the daytime much. You understand? Maybe in the early evening you'll see them, but they're nocturnal creatures.
Okay, Amun.
That's superficial surface modification. Go ahead.
I was going to ask. He talked about the sea creatures, the sirens, the mermaids, the fallen angels.
They're real.
Yeah, they're real.
Yeah.
All right.
You can look it up right now on YouTube. Humanoid mermaids. Now they're taking a lot of this stuff down real fast because of this policy they have against woke, W-O-K-E. Like they're trying to prevent African studies and history. You know what I mean? Because they found that white boys and girls are starting to feel real bad and remorseful for the things that their parents did, the horrible atrocities, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In other words,
They gotta know the truth, man.
Yeah, well, they need to, and I'm here to tell them, but they resent me too. But in short, their parents, their family, they come from, they're devils, you understand? And that makes, they feel, the white boys and white girls feel bad about themselves, you understand? Because they are a reflection of their parents, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So the devil's cure is to get rid of the truth, not to try to stop being the devil. Go ahead. Listen. I had a woman named Sarah in San Diego. Now, this was a bad girl. She was my partner, and I loved her. But I mean, she had killed her brother, you know, and different things. She was a different kind of beautiful, you know, but she was a reptilian. You understand? And she would do things like take my van and keep it for 3 or 4 days, and I'd be stranded someplace, and I would beat her ass. I'm serious. Not really, but I'd take a strap and beat her ass for real. You understand? And one time that happened, and she had to go to the hospital because she said it was a boil on her butt. And she told me, Osman, you got to find another way to punish me because this making boils on me. Like, so I looked at it and I thought to myself, so you're not trying to figure out no kind of way to stop fucking with me. You told me I got to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Find another way to punish you. Yeah. What about? Have you even considered stop fucking with me? Did that even cross your mind?
Oh.
You understand the devil?
Wow.
That's right.
Stuff was funny.
You gotta. When she says you gotta find another way to punish me, to me I heard, nigga, I'm not gonna stop the behavior.
Right.
Yep. That's what she's saying.
Punishment.
That's right. That's all. But I'm not changing. I'm not changing nothing.
I know. It's a punishment.
Yo.
Well, I left her right there in San Diego. Right.
She chose
I don't blame you. That's right.
I was talking to her on the phone recently, man. I'm gonna show you how cold this is. And she said, why don't you, Daddy, I want to come home. Why don't you send for me or either come back to California? I said, no, I'm not coming back out there. Too many reptiles out there. She pushed a button and she said real quick, yeah, and they still out here. I said, oh, shit.
Wow.
Oh, shit. You know what I mean? You act like you're proud of that. But when I tell her to go outside at night, look at stars, she won't do it. She's afraid of anything to do with the Creator. She don't want to know who I am or what's going on. She don't want to know that. Because she already locked herself in to the devil. You know, one time we were standing on C Street, and I was living with 2 women. And Khadija was in the bed asleep. She and I was sitting on a bench in front of the piano in the living room in the dark talking. having a deep, good conversation. And then from out of nowhere, she looked at me and said, I know you want me to go down there to that other place. I said, what? Where you not getting that from me? Where you know what I mean? I'm doing everything in my power to uplift you and pull you up and wake you up. Yeah, I know you want me to go down there to that other place.
Yeah, I mean, you would left her.
What did she mean? What did she mean?
For hell.
Exactly.
You know, for killing people and all that, the stuff she do.
Wow.
She's a real reptile. I mean, she looks like one too. She's beautiful, but she got a long neck, cameo neck, and a feet. I mean, just all them teeth. You know, all them teeth. Get me with all them teeth, and no body, zero body fat. You know what I mean? About 5'11", 6 feet tall. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, just a reptile, man.
Wow.
She knows she's a reptile, and she's not running from it. She embraces it. Yes.
And she will leave for she'll leave for 3 days. She'll leave you straight for 3 days. That was just crazy.
If what now? Yeah. She would take it.
She would leave.
Yeah. She would just take my van, leave me in the motel, and I'm taking care of business, and I need my transportation. You understand what I mean? And she just be gone.
Wow.
One time, I was so mad, I got a cab and went looking for it in the dark, didn't even know where to go. But my mind took me to a junkyard, and there was a trailer there with a light on. So I eased in the junkyard, and I got by the window to listen. She was in there reading the Holy Bible, the book of Job, to her little sister Patricia. Reading the book of Job, right? About how the devil attacked him and all this. And I called her out there, and the cab, I was so mad, I took my van, I wouldn't even pay the cab driver. But that night, she got a royal ass whooping, like, for real. You understand what I mean? It scared me, you know what I mean? You know, and then,
wow.
And she was an athlete, you know, like a gymnast and a track runner. She used to run for Mickey's Missiles. I mean, she's an athletic young lady, could run like an antelope. So we walking into the motel, and there was a truck there, and I took my cane and knocked the light out, just broke the light, because I was so mad. And she said, I know what's going to happen, because I know you do, because you know what anger is. You done kill people. And she took off running like Mickey's Missiles, and the police was driving down the street, in the middle of the street in Spring Grove, and the back window was down. I swear to God, Sarah ran so fast, she jumped through the back window into that car, and her legs didn't touch the window, the glass. That's how athletic that motherfucker was. But she wouldn't come in that room with me, because I know she understood anger, and she understood violence. You understand? And she knew she had took me to a point where I might be losing control. You understand?
Understand?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you're not like that no more, Amun.
Huh?
I said, thank goodness you're not like that no more, Amun.
Oh no, I'm not like anything like that. But the thing is, I don't hold secrets from you all, and I don't believe that. I believe that everybody here has fallen short of the glory of God. That's what I believe.
That's right.
That ain't nobody here perfect, and I don't believe that. You understand what I mean? And I'm not gonna pretend to be that either. You understand? So I think it's wholesome. It's wholesome sometimes to let people know you have human frailties, and you're not. You know what I mean? But I don't like nobody acting like Malachi said. You want me to be your holy man, walk around with my eyes down all day? You say, you be a holy man. You do that. You be a holy woman. You walk in white with your head down, all humble all day, and be you be like that. And niggas look at you like you're crazy, right? But you want me to do that to you, right? You done lost your mind.
See, that's one thing I always wondered about you, Amun. Like, what is a person like yourself with high ranking in the spiritual world, you know, but here you are servant, you know, what's a person like your life like? What do you do on a regular, you know?
Well, that's not what I do on a regular. That's part of my past before I knew who I was. Because, see, Bennett is 29, is 29 star being, you know, comets that came down, and Bennett is Malachi's name because his light shone the brightest. It was 29 of us. We came down like a meteor shower, and I landed in a reddish brown-skinned baby boy named Larry Darrensburg in New Orleans, and he landed in Boston, inside of Dwight York. You understand? And we housed ourselves in cells deep inside these little babies until it was time for us to start coming forward. And the same thing is happening with you all, and I see it in some of you, but you don't recognize it in yourself. I see it in Katat, for example, that he's transforming because the being inside of him is coming forward and taking control over the human. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, you all are star beings. You understand? And there's beings inside of you that have been dormant and waiting for the time to come forward. That's why you're attracted to these classes and thinking spiritual, where in your past when you were young, maybe you were thinking different too, right?
Right.
That's right. You see what I mean?
Every day.
But all of a sudden now you want to be spiritual and this, that, and the other because that being inside of you is waking up.
Right.
Coming forward. It was in the back seat, now it's coming to the front seat, taking the wheel.
Yeah.
The God in you.
Fact. Just been laying dormant.
That's all.
Waiting.
That's all, just waiting. Watching everything you were doing and it was cringing a lot of times. And a lot of times when y'all see these little light balls of light out the peripheral of your vision and different things, that's God that's circling around you and waiting till you get your business straight so he can come and take his seat. His throne is in the top of your crown molar in your head. You have 13 cranial cardinal nerves up there, and that's the 24 elders. 24 elders, you understand? And he's at the seat, the head of the seat, the head of the council. But he won't come into his temple. His temple, I told you, is not a building, but it's the place on the side of your head next to your ears. That's his temple. You understand? He resides in his temple. Is in your head. But when you got these negative and evil thoughts, he won't come in. He won't come in an unclean house. He won't come in. He just patiently circles you, just waiting for the day that you change. And if you wait too long, he'll leave. And you know when he's gone. Yeah. Because you'll be plagued with negative and evil thoughts all the time. You be food for fodder. You just be
Couldn't be in class either. You stop coming.
No, you wouldn't be in class.
Yep.
No.
You won't be in class.
Because nothing like that would interest you. You'd be thinking about food, drugs, and sex, and money. Money, you understand? Money is called mammon because that is some people's gods. I've been down that track too.
Wow.
There's not much I haven't done or suffered, but the reason I had to go through so many different experiences is because I had to be able to relate to you all. Do you follow me?
Overstand.
Yeah. When a sister come to me and say, you know, I'm having trouble, I'm on crack, and I can't control myself, something. If I haven't experienced all these things and know anything about drugs and, you know, armed robbery and violence or this, that, and the other, I can't address, I can't even identify, I can't even imagine what they're going through. So how can I help them if I can't feel your place?
That's right.
But I had to suffer. I've been crucified for y'all a million times. But all that was prep school for me. I had to go through the school which is called Hard Knocks.
That's right.
That's right. To prepare me for people like you all. Because when we call you forth, you all are like mummies. Coming up like Lazarus. You got a foul smell. You got all this baggage from the world. You got all this ugly attitude and negative spirits. We've been abused and mistreated, and you're resentful and angry, and you all kind of things, suspicious about everything. You're just coming forth with a lot of baggage and foul smell. You understand? So we have to be prepared for that. You follow me? To be able to understand, relate to it. You understand?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we come down here all just like on TV, you know, like an angel with wings and fear. As soon as you look at a nigga and they life, you be like, pew, get away from me. You understand?
Sure.
Like you weak to sex, you're disgusting. or weak to food and get all fat, you're just sickening. Or you weak to drugs or something, they don't have no patience for you. You understand?
Yeah.
Sure.
But if you've been through some of them schools, you can understand it, right? You may not agree with it, but you can understand it. What I'm talking about is a very small cell. I'm talking about a very small fraction of my life. All my life when I was born, I was just like an angel. My grandmother said, here come that big-eyed, woolly-head boy. You know, but I was always by myself, reading the Bible, singing gospels in the rocking chair. My brother Red, he was like a devil, I'm not going to lie. But him and his friends would go and break windows and pull up flowers and do all kinds of things they thought was fun. And they say, Larry, you go with us? He said, don't let my brother just like an angel. He ain't going to do nothing. That's right. I don't see no fun. And no old lady going and, you know, planting tulips and working in it all year to make a tulip. But then y'all run across the street in 1 minute and pull them up so she can cry. Or tying firecrackers to a cat's tail. I don't see any. That's not funny to me.
That's right.
I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not participating in that. You know, all that with girls and this, that, and the other. I couldn't understand all that just for the sake of doing it.
That's right.
I didn't understand smoking cigarettes and being a bad boy.
Yeah.
But when I got about 19, I tripped for about 2 years, and that was when all these things happened. Because I'm a very intense person, you know. I got very big hands, so I made a lot of money. And whatever I do it strong. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
And that don't always, even if it's not good, what it is, I'm a powerful being. You know, when I move. God damn it, you know I'm around. When I came in the room, I commanded, you know, all, like Tupac say, all eyes on me.
Yeah.
You can feel me, man. I have gravity. You understand? That's right. You know, when I come in, Big Tim was falling, baby. It won't be long for dawn. You understand what I'm saying? That's right. You might not know what it is, but you know I'm not an ordinary guy. But what it was is the Messiah was in me waiting to unfurl. You understand? Yeah. But I wouldn't live in no sinful life or nothing like that. I mean, I've been walking with Malachi over 50 years. I mean, after all, you know what I'm saying? I did have a birthday yesterday, y'all. I had a birthday yesterday, so, you know, a lot of people ask me, a lot of people tell me, it's your birthday, call me from all over and tell me, happy birthday, Amun, and I didn't even know it was. Because I'm not really, you know, centered on myself. I'm more focused on you all.
It was your birthday.
It was your birthday, Amun?
Huh? Yeah. Yesterday, May 31st.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
Wow.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, that's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Might get down too.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Amun.
Come on, D.
I love you.
Happy birthday.
That's nice.
Hey, Amun, is it technically you was born at 12 o'clock at the stroke of midnight, right?
I was born at the height of a thunderstorm at 12 o'clock. At the stroke of 12.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. So was Malachi. That's how we had to sneak in here so the disagreeable beings couldn't get us. We had protection. The storm was a distraction.
Hey.
And it was electromagnetic, too, you see.
Okay.
We were intelligent beings even before the flesh, just like you all were. Go ahead.
So, with the Messiah being inside of you, starting to wake up, when was the day you realized, oh, this is what's going on? Like, I know it's a gradual process.
Well, I'll tell you this. The aha moment, sister, was not, it was a gradual diminution. It didn't happen like bam or something like that. It was just like a gradual coming to myself, you know what I mean? But it was so strong and powerful, it was undeniable, you understand?
All right.
For example, a big white light started flashing from my left eye not too long ago, not too many years ago. And people like Khadijah was my mate at that time and started flashing in her eye, and Hotep sitting here in the rocking chair next to me, he's a truck driver, and it started flashing in his eye bright like that. You know, and I started noticing things like there was where I laid my head down in bed, coming through the ceiling, and I have a 2-story house. Coming through the ceiling, it was this liquid drops of plasma light, pure light, like liquid light, spiritual light dripping down. So when I looked at it, I knew that's where I laid my head, so it was evidently going at me. It was like when Jesus was in the Jordan River and the crab was over him and the angel Gabriel dripped down in him while he was underwater, you understand? And then ushered him into the wilderness to continue his testing. And John the Baptist was baptizing him, and the Roman soldiers were standing up on the levees and things, looking around, trying to find any fault in this man, because he attracted so many people. He was such a powerful teacher, John the Baptist was. And they arrested John for the murder of me, because he kept feeling under the water to pull me back up after the baptism, and he couldn't find me. I was gone. Gabriel ushered me into the wilderness, you understand?
So that's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Now.
Yes.
What the heck? I got DNA explosion I ain't had in years.
I love you, Pop. I'm so glad I called right in. They told me, I looked up, it said call right now. It said 904 call class. And I wanted to reiterate what you've been telling people about that, oh, good, they're trying to take it from me. They be trying to take me to get out of class. Congestible combustion pop.
Yeah.
The combustion that you sent out, that curse, it happened to one of my friends from Louisiana. Where you at, Pop? I've been
I believe it.
They ain't let me in 3 times in class.
And that's why I tell people to be careful. Be careful when how you handling me. Don't disrespect. Don't disrespect, because it's not just Larry Darrensburg. You're disrespecting a majestic supreme being.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Larry Darrensburg, you were from that Louisiana. That's why I'm tripping, because it happened.
That's right. But you know what I'm saying? Let me tell you common sense. Common sense is this. If you see somebody moving the whole universe, don't play with them.
And I didn't know. I was trying to say last class they blocked.
You don't have to be that smart to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? You don't disrespect nobody that can move the whole creation.
It happened.
Yeah, I know.
It happened. And it happened before.
They'd be the burst of the flame from the inside out right there, playing that devil role.
They were actually trying to go against me, Pop, when I was trying to train them a class for you. They were trying to go against me, like, Freeman think he know this, even think he know this. I said, I'm telling you, brother, I've been in class over 26 years with Larry Danborough and Amun. I know who he is. I see it. I said, I'm trying to tell you, brother. And then all of a sudden,
if you anywhere around me, you're going to see it.
What happened?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Pop, they said, oh, we called in the class. They called in the money call, the new position I had, and said, oh, we just want to take a safety moment about, putting your fire extinguishers and stuff. Someone just, house burnt down. And then when I went to class 3 weeks later, when you said it, I said, see, they don't understand. Pop just told me. I said, I knew something.
I wish they want. I want them to understand, because, I'm not a touch hog or nothing. I'm not that, where any least little thing set me off. But I'm very sensitive about my students. You understand that?
And I don't want to even get mad enough to do it, Pop. I know what you're saying. They just don't.
Yeah, and I can't control. If I have heat like that, it means a flash. You know what I'm talking about? Like Jesus was in the temple one time. You read in the Bible. Let me talk, son. Jesus was in the temple one time, and they upset him in there, and he came outside, and he touched the fig tree, and what did it do, y'all? It withered and died.
It withered. It withered.
Ooh, he was angry.
Yeah, he was angry. So anything he touched in a state of anger, that's the kind of power that's in him. If he can raise the dead, you don't want to play with him, you understand? If he's raising the dead, taking life is nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm realizing one thing, Pop, that I have this power. I'm just so grateful that I'm still here with you, Pop, and thank you for teaching. And every student on here, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want y'all to know I've been here over almost 3 decades. And Pop, I'm tell you something. Amun is not playing. Please take heed. They even blocking me from listening to other stuff. So please, my friends, my brothers, my sisters, my loved ones, my beloved, please hear me clearly. Please hear, this is the elder that's here to bring us home. And I mean right now. Love you, Pop.
I love you too.
I love you.
I love you.
And I miss you, and I miss you right
Love
now.
you too.
I love you all.
That's right.
I'll be expecting to see you again pretty soon. All right. Who else has a question, or are you all ready to go to any given Sunday?
I have a question.
Very good.
I had a question.
Favorite
I
movie?
wanted
See,
to
I'm
know-
on the right class. Any given Sunday, my favorite one, Pop. Ooh, wee. I'm mute. I'm excited. I'm right here now. I love it.
I wanted to know, Amun.
Yes.
What is my name? Like,
Well, when you get your spiritual package, you know, it shows commitment and that you're dedicated to the mission to some extent. When I start seeing you posting up everywhere and writing, you know, your experiences in class testimonies and etc. You know what I mean? And asking questions in class. When, in other words, when I know you're serious and committed, you know, to the level like you want to take it all the way, then you earn your Glyphil name, and I'll go look for it. Because it already exists, you understand, in a white stone somewhere.
all right. Okay.
The Bible will tell you about your new name.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Yes.
You said it's a verse that says it in the Bible?
I found mine in the Bible
Say
and
it
the
again.
Holy Tablet. So he's right. He's telling you right. I found mine in the Bible and the Holy Tablet. You'll find your name. Pop gonna guide you. I'm just admitting that what he's saying. Please, anyone knowing the class, please hear me. I've been over 30 years. Pop is not playing.
All right. Go ahead, son. Are you asking me a question?
Yeah, I just want to share a story with you, Amun.
Okay.
This is for Todd. I find myself even being around like thermometer, or either like if I got a clock that is hold the temperature around. Once I get close, it rises the temperature in the room. And my wife said, "You always warm, baby. Is any time special when if it get cold? All I gotta do
I'm
is
hot all the time. That's right.
Yes, yes.
Me too.
And that's a sign that you're a healer. Healers have a lot of electricity in them. So something else happened. You know, in the old days, you used to pass by the TV and it would get static in it.
Yes.
Or some of you put a watch on and it would stop and different things like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or you walk across a floor and touch somebody and a spark pop on them, you know.
Yes.
And they jump, you know. But you're a healer. That's what that is.
Even my street light in front of my house, if I go outside and get close to it, it'll go out.
Blink? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I follow you.
Flicker. Yeah, mine across the street does it. Yeah.
Exactly. I had a television in the living room that would come on by itself, and I went and unplugged it, and it still came on.
Still came on, mine.
Yeah, I don't.
That's right.
I don't. Amun, I sneezed before, and it changed the channel.
What?
Yeah, he got real power. You need to go and guide him, Amun.
Hey, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
But you all got to remember that your deities and you all one with all, and it's a connection between you and everything in existence.
Understand?
Right.
It's just like you a spider with a big web, but anywhere a fly hit it, he gonna run to that spot because he can feel it anywhere in the center. And you all are the center of your own universe. You follow?
Understand?
I follow.
Oh, good.
So your senses, your spidey senses, in essence, go out and stand in every direction. And if you become tuned into it and get sensitive to it, you can feel what people think and their moods and emotions, all that.
Oh my goodness!
Once you know that you are one with the stars, you can move them.
Yeah.
And if you're one with the people, you can project their image into the moon while you're moving it.
Boy, they're not really ready for it. I can tell.
Well, they're gonna have to be ready because I'm here.
The moon is here. I feel it.
I am here. Yeah.
I got a question.
And I'm not, like I say, when I tell y'all about some of the things I went through, don't ever think that I'm a criminal or something like that. It's nothing like that.
Oh no,
never was. And it was just a little short minute that I went, like my brother Red said, I went on the wild for a minute there. You know what I mean?
Understand?
But I squoze the whole elephant in the symbol. It didn't take long, and I wasn't there long, but I did dip my toe in that fire that hurt, and I came out of that.
Yes,
you did.
That's right.
You did.
Because I follow you. You follow me? All the honest ones been there, yeah. Some people not to the extent. Let me say this to y'all. I want you to understand me. We've been walking through this earth plane, and it's like a flower garden. And some people walking through it, you know, like some men and women get old, and they never. The most extreme thing they did wrong was tell a lie on somebody or something. You know what I mean? But you got other people out there like Sarah Parison that murder people and do all kind of the extreme of it. And so that flower garden turns into a flesh-eating plants. You understand what I mean?
Understand.
Yeah.
They have, in other words, the more intense you go through to evil, the hotter your fire.
You create your hell.
That's right.
The way you
got it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that.
Well, you know, when you lead people to heaven, who gets there first, right?
You do.
Yeah.
That's right. And if you lead people to hell, you know who gets there first then, right?
You get that first, right?
That's right. Remember, you cannot, Jesus tried to tell y'all in parables, you can't hold a man down in a ditch unless you're down there with him.
Understand.
That's a parable, but it's common sense.
And I am Yeshua. I figured it out.
Yeah, you want to hold somebody down in a ditch, but you don't want to get dirty. That's crazy. You want to put somebody down and be down. Always be working on ways to uplift your people and magnify them. Don't never try to degrade them or make them feel small in any way or make them look small or anything. Especially a being that was sent here specifically to raise your people up.
Come on now.
It's all right for me to tell y'all about some things that I'm not proud of because I'm an honest person. But I want you to remember one thing. If I'll tell on myself, don't you ever think I won't tell on you.
Come on now.
I'm not quick to it now, you know what I mean? But don't push me. And you know you don't want your business out there, and I know your business. I don't think I don't. I know them things you don't want nobody else to know. You understand?
Because God knows it, right?
Now you got it. That's right. And people tickle me. I tell them to look up at the sky and find a star, right? We can say together. We can't talk. All right. I tell them look at a star. I don't care where they at. And they say, I found one. I said, now I'm going to move that until they never ask me, how do you know what star I'm looking at? Because I'm in your mind. I made a mind link with you. So you think when I'm in your mind, all I'm looking at are stars? I'm not looking at your thoughts?
Yeah.
That's silly. You follow me?
That's why sometimes when I do something stupid, I'm just like, okay, wait. He can see me, like, or,
that's right.
You know, that's why.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
All right. You all don't really want.
I have a quick question, Pop. I think it'll be good for the class. Okay, so the experience, of course, whatever the experience, when I saw the moon, right, and I saw the star next to it, I have a quick question because it only does it like every 30 or every 60 days to me. Every time I look at the moon and I meditate, then I see a little star by it, but it's not there every day. What am I looking at, Pop? Because it sounds simple, but you know it's complex.
Because the moon, every object in the sky is constantly moving, except one thing. That's the North Star. Remember that. It's always in the same place. That's why you can use it for a guide, right? But all the rest of the celestial objects constantly move, but the moon and the stars are not on the same orbit pattern. So the moon shows up in different constellations with different stars around it at different times, right?
Right.
And I wanted to show y'all something about proof. Let me give y'all proof and evidence of the Creator. The Most High is real. Don't ever think anything to the contrary. He's realer than you and everything else here. But you know what a solar eclipse is, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. When they tell you to go outside and at a certain time, the moon go be orbiting, it'll get directly between the Earth and the Sun. So as the disk of the moon passes over the disk of the face of the sun, well, you got to understand, how is the moon exactly in the right longitude and latitude? Why is it down too low or too high so that only half of it goes over the sun or it misses the sun? Who's got it where it's exactly lined up so when the moon passes over the sun, it's exactly blocking out the sun exactly? And on top of that, the moon is 240,000 miles away. The sun is 93.8 million miles away, and it's a million times larger than the Earth. But the moon, when it passes in front of the sun, because it's closer to the Earth, it's the exact same size as the sun. So it blocks out the exact whole sun. All you see is the solar prominences of the aura around the sun. You can't see the sun disk at all. In a total blackout, it becomes dark because the moon is the exact same size at that distance as the sun. Who can organize that? Who's doing that? All right, now let's look at a lunar eclipse. Listen to me. Look at a lunar eclipse, right? That's when the Earth gets directly between the moon and the sun. And the sun shines on the Earth, and the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. But at the distance the Earth is from the sun and from the moon, the shadow of the Earth is exactly the same size as the circular surface of the moon. Exactly. So when the Earth passes in front of the moon between the sun, it exactly blocks out the whole face of the moon precisely. So you got it going either way. And there's so many variables in that any intelligent being knows that it's incalculable. They find themselves soon trying to extricate themselves to the math. The only way all these things can be possible is because the Creator is in charge of creating everything. So the devil be damned. That's childish. Stop it. I'll tell you what, I was talking to Sarah on the phone not long ago. She sent me $200 for a holy tablet some years back. Well, she told me she was walking and she told me, she talked funny sometimes. She said, God and the devil got the same amount of power. Not admit. And I said, what? So you've been with me all these years and you still haven't learned anything. You think the devil's an angel, stupid? The Creator created angels. What do you mean they got the same amount of... That's because she's the devil. She wants that. She's trying to bend reality. The devil and God got the same amount of power. Not admit. Instead of saying the devil and God has the same amount of power. Not admit. The devil and God got the same amount of power. Not admit. Come on. Cut that out. Where'd that come from? Are you just stupid? Are you just playing? You want to be dumb.
They want to be.
Let me tell you something.